How's it going, guys? It is Dockers, and today I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on one of my favourite racetracks, Dragon's Back. Now in today's video we are going to be going down sector by sector, showing you all the different line choices and how you can take them all, and then we'll be coming back up for a full pace race run at the end of the video. Now this is one of Mavrix's hardest tracks, most technical, so there's a lot of things that you can slip up on. But hopefully this video will help you shave off those seconds. So let's get straight into it. Now straight out of the gate and into sector 1, you're going to be going through quite a few sharp turns, so there's going to be a little bit of brake modulating you need to do, and then also your line choice. Now if you pedal boost out of the gate, you will also lift the front wheel on here, and you might struggle to make the corner. So what I tend to do is straight out of the gate, I tend to give it a little turn to the left hand side, and try and ride the smoother section here, giving me a wider line into this first corner, keeping it as tight to the right as possible. Then a little dab of the brake, a turn and a lean to get it onto these rocks here. Now coming over the rocks, you could either go all the way down the right hand side, you can go over the middle. Now be careful, if you hit this rock here with a little bit too much speed, it will buck you off the bike. What I like to personally do is go as wide as possible, try get round this rock to line up with the high line into this corner. We're going to dab the brakes as we come around this corner. Again, we're going to be leaning. We've got a left-hander with this little divot here. Now, careful you don't cut it too tight. This little bump here will launch you straight out the track. And then you want to take this right. Careful not to go too wide, because this bump will also do the same thing. It will send you. Tuck down this hill, and then you want to do a tiny little brake dab, lean round this corner, and straight through into sector 2. Into sector 2 now, and we have a little rock garden to deal with. So what I like to do, if I'm carrying enough speed coming around this wooden feature, I like to take it as far left as possible, hit the brakes to bring the back end out, and I try and thread the needle between these two rocks. You can hit this rock and skip up and over the top onto that little downhill bit, but my personal favourite is through the gap. You can also bunny hop up and over this. It's a little bit more difficult, but can set you up with a slightly wider line for the next corner. Like I say, my personal favourite is to go round here, and then I hit this bump here, get on the brakes a little bit, slow myself down for this left-hander because it's quite tight. And then as you lean around the corner, you want to try and thread the needle straight through the gap of these two rocks. Now there's two ways to go over this wooden section. If you don't have the pace, give it a bunny hop and go straight into sector 3. If you do have the pace, however, you can actually just roll straight over the gap. Now, I don't think I'll get the pace from here. Just about. You can see I nearly fell off the bike. But if I had a little bit more speed coming into that sector, I would be able to just skip over. But it is a little bit more risky on your race runs. So let's get around this corner and get into sector 3. Now, sector 3 will have you absolutely flat out along the ridgeline. There's a couple of ways to take this first corner. You can either be tucked into this berm, send it round and go, or you can also take the inside line, skimming the inside of the corner. You just need to be a little bit careful when you do of this rock here. It might skip you up into the air and lose control. And the next section is basically as flat out as possible. Tuck as much as you can. Careful not to touch the boundary on the right hand side there, it's very tight, and straight into sector 4. Now coming into sector 4, there is going to be a lot of different line choices, as this sector is quite long and there's quite a few technical little sections. So I'll try and show you as much of it as I can, and you'll see on my race run at the end my preferred line. So as you come around this corner, you can go off this rock, you'll get a little bit of air time, it might push you slightly wide on the track, so be careful you don't hit the boundary. And it may destabilize you a little bit, and you may lose a little bit of speed. My personal preference is to try and fit through this gap of the rock here. Just tuck all the way around that corner and come flat out through. Now this wooden feature, I've set a flag all the way back up the hill, because if you don't have the speed, you're going to want to get onto there and then bunny hop over the gap. However, if you are carrying the speed, you can clear that section. You can clear that middle part of the wooden feature. So I'm going to attempt to get the speed from here. So we're just going to tuck this whole hill, keep it absolutely flat out, through the gap, and then bunny hop over. and keep your tuck going as soon as you land and send it straight up the hill. Now carrying on from that wooden feature, you're going to want to drop onto here. You may have to get a little pedal boost in to get above 60 as you come into this rock section. Now, there is two main lines on here with one little cheeky extra one, which I will show you. It's not the fastest, but it is quite fun to do. So, the first one is to follow the wooden platform. We brake, we have to do a little bit of leaning. It's not very quick. And then we carry on through. The main line that everybody takes if you want to keep your speed is you come up to this corner, you turn, give a little brake dab if you need to, you bunny hop over the rock, and then you take the wooden plank up and over, and you can then send it straight on. However, the third line, this is quite a fun one to do. However, it's not very quick. There may be a way to land it quite nicely. If you can get up to 60 and you line up right, you can jump up and over the top of the rock and carry on. Like I say, it's not very fast because when you land, you lose a lot of speed. And if you do get that turn and that little bunny hop over the smaller rock, it can be a lot smoother and a lot faster coming through. Then all we have is we have two berms to go through. It's these two berms, and then a jump. Land as flat as possible, get the tuck on, and go through into Sector 5, one of the sectors that takes me out all of the time. So I will show you the safe line, and I will also show you the flat out line. So into Sector 5, what we tend to call the rock drop, there's two main lines you can take through here. There is what I call the safe route, which is still fast if you risk tucking the whole way. Or there is the more difficult route, but it does pay off in the end if you manage to land it because you carry a lot more speed going down through the drop itself. So you can tuck all the way through and make this corner to here before you get on the brakes. Now, I highly recommend that you have the XTR brakes so that you can stop in time, because you need to be heavy on the brakes to pretty much stop to make the corner to get down through there. Now, the more difficult line, I am going to struggle showing you in third person without the speed, so I will show you it in the race run. But what you're going to do is you're going to go wide up on this grass, bunny hop, and you're going to clear this rock, and you want to land here. If you land just before here, it will slam you straight off the bike. You need to be landing here, and you need to be carrying the perfect amount of speed, because as soon as you land, you need to turn and lean before you hit this bump here. Otherwise, it will think you're trying to do a 360 and it will send you straight into the rock face. And you have to basically be incredibly lucky to land at the perfect position to be able to send it full speed straight through. Then all we're going to do, as we come down, we're going to keep tucked, clear the jump, and then here you just have a right hand turn. It might lift you off the floor slightly if you carry a bit too much speed, but you'll come into the woods on Sector 6. So Sector 6 and the start of the woods section, again, there is multiple lines through here. Now, you can bunny hop over this gap. I tend to just skim over the top of it. If you're carrying enough speed, you tend to be able to carry straight over. You can go around these trees to the left-hand side and then turn in, or you can take the much tighter line and basically stay as close to the boundary tape as possible. That's my personal preference. And then we have a few different line choices coming into here. Now you can either take the tight left. Be careful not to get too close to the boundary because it will kick you off. You will have to slow down a tiny bit to make this corner. And then you can go round here, which gives you the tighter line to get around this corner here. If we go all the way out and round, which used to be my favourite, you have to get on the brakes a little bit to slow down, otherwise you'll get sent straight out the top of the berm. So a little brake dab and then pull it into the berm. Or the third line, which I personally find is the fastest. You drop onto here and you basically go straight through the middle of the trees and into the berm and carry around into the final sector, Sector 7. So the final sector, Sector 7 on this insane track. And it all depends on how you come through this corner here. Now be careful if you're carrying speed and you hit this inside edge. There is a tiny little bump here that will send you straight on if you get airborne. So you may have to take it a little bit wider and give it a little brake dab just to get the back end out. But then it all depends on where your bike lines up as to which line you take. I will take a different line every time, all depending on how I make this corner. So it's pretty much on the fly. But you could go wide to the right-hand side, you can cut straight through the middle, or you can try and get as high up the left-hand side as possible and then turn in for a more straight run for the finish. So heading down to the finish, we have this jump here. You may need to slow down for it a little bit or pre-hop it, as what we do, to try and land a bit smoother, try and keep as low as possible. And then you have the final jump. Again, you can either go up and over a wooden feature. I haven't done that in a very long time, so it would actually be interesting to see how fast it is. Or my personal preference is if you manage to land off of that jump smooth enough and you're carrying enough speed, I tend to just make this jump land and just get tucked as quick as possible and send it through the finish line. So I know it's a lot to take in. This track is incredibly technical, incredibly difficult to hit at full race pace. So me doing this next bit is probably going to take an awful lot of attempts to do. But I'm going to head back up to the top now. I'm going to get into first person and I'm going to show you a full pace race run. Let's get it.
And they go fastest at this split. Will it be more greenery? Oh, they crash out hard here this afternoon. Oh, they're up by less than a second. Oh, they crash out.
Oh my god, no.
And what's it going to be? It's green. Oh, going down then. That's a costly mistake. Faster, but with less than 2 seconds to play with. Oh, they crash out.
No. Flat out, come on.
Oh, they're up by less than a second though. Oh, down they go.
0.6 up. Oh, I'm going to cry.
Starting the clock on Dragon's back. Oh, less than a second up. Can they keep this intensity? Tucking down here for more speed. Holding a great line through this, but through the split they go and it's fastest. Well, we've seen this coming, but no one expected it to be delivered quite so early in this rider's career. They're green, but the margin isn't much. Tucking down for more speed. They go fastest, but there's an awful lot of real estate left in front of them. And they're up! Oh, they're up by the tiniest of margins at this split. And they go fastest at this split, but not by much at all.
Come on, let's go.
And they cross the line fastest. Oh, look at the time. It's green by the smallest of margins. A new personal best here today. Let's see how that boosts them on the global leaderboard. And just look at that name at the top of the leaderboard. The fastest rider on planet Earth. The rider that took the most risks. The rider that pushed harder. The rider that went faster than anyone else. That is the race run to beat right now.
Let's go. That has taken hours. There we have it, guys. That is the tutorial for Dragon's Back, including a full race pace run. That ended up getting me the world record currently. So absolutely epic. Took me hours to get that race run down, but we got it. So if you want to see more tutorials and more content, make sure you like, comment and subscribe to this Mavrix channel. There'll be more coming out very soon. And if you want to get involved with community rides and also join a lot of us top players on live stream, come on over to my channel, youtube.com/dockersgaming, and get involved there as well. Hope this has helped you guys shave off a few seconds on Dragon's Back, one of the most brutal tracks in game, but it's absolutely epic when you get that race run down. Hope you've enjoyed. Take it easy.